Welcome everybody to another episode of Buried Pleasures. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Pollyanna Amazing. And just want to let you know that we are a member of the Just Some Podcast family. And tonight it is my pleasure to have a wonderful part of that Just Some Podcast Media family with me. And it is Nurse Papa. Nurse Papa, welcome.
Hey, Pollyanna, thanks so much for inviting me to your show. It's been a long time dream of mine to join you on Buried Treasures.
Oh, Buried Pleasures?
Pleasures. I mean, the treasure is my pleasure, right?
You're adorable. I love it no matter what. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Okay. My name is David, aka Nurse Papa. That is my name because I am a dad, but also a pediatric oncology nurse. I'm also a podcaster. My show is called Nurse Papa, and it's
Fantastic.
about parenthood. Each episode, I take a deep dive into a story of parenthood, and come out on the other side with hopefully an understanding of what makes kids, parents, everybody tick. What makes us go?
That's right. I loved your show. I just recently heard your latest episode, and I'm not going to lie. Every time I do a show, I probably say communicate, communicate, communicate about a million times during those shows. And your latest show, remind me of the title, please.
It is called A Marriage Scrabbled.
A Marriage Scrabbled. And if you guys out there have not got a chance to listen to anything that Nurse Papa has done up to this point, this one is a great one because if you are in a relationship, regardless of who you are or what you do, we all know that communication can be very difficult at times. Should I say maybe more than difficult sometimes? And then
Yes.
you add that whole couple relationship and then you throw in a couple more kids or maybe one, maybe a dog, who knows, a fish, somebody else in the mix that you have to argue about or talk about. So
Pollyanna, I could argue with the plant, honestly.
I totally believe that. Um, as though David is my favorite name, just because that's my husband's name. That's my favorite one to yell too. David,
Uh-huh.
David. So I get that, and I'm sure you're no stranger to that, are you?
People do yell David. My wife has been known to yell David. My kids yell Papa, Papa.
But that's fantastic. So, in this episode that you just did, A Marriage Scrabbled, I really, truly felt like you were right in my mind. You know, just the thoughts of day by day going by and having that meaningful conversation, relationship with that certain person, whomever that may be, and trying to keep it going for a long period of time, such as being married, it's a little difficult. So tell the audience, if you don't mind, how you are dealing with this in your home. How's it going?
I mean, communication is, like you said, it's a really challenging thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I kind of get into with this last episode of the Nurse Papa podcast, it's not really what you say often, it's how you say it. There have been so
Mm-hmm.
many times when I have said completely appropriate things to my wife, but the way I say it has no enthusiasm or no love.
Yeah.
And of course, the message is delivered, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have many ways of talking to people, of communicating to people,
Right.
and I think it's really important to calibrate those two things. Our body language, our words, everything to actually have a cohesive message with the people we love.
Yeah, that is it's an important part, the delivery, right? I
The
know
delivery.
I think I'm in that age group of people like I like to text and I like to be able to send messages that way, but also I really, really, really still enjoy the sound of people's voices. And the reason why I like that is I think that my awesome language of sarcasm can
Mm.
sometimes be a little tough for people to translate via text or email, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
I've
I,
offended many people with a strange text that was meant to to communicate irony or sarcasm.
Sure. And some people are really good at that, and some people are not, unfortunately. And I happen to be one of those people. I think that sometimes I may come off a little too strong. Sometimes, possibility. But you
It's
know,
good to know yourself, isn't it?
it totally is. Well, and so then I do take the time to reach out and verbally say things. But one of the funny things that we do in our house is we have an angry. We do. It's really like angry compliment night. That's what we call it.
Well, that
Angry
sounds very
compliment
passive
night.
aggressive.
It totally is. So we will say, I think you're beautiful, in a really
Mm,
angry voice. But that's when we're frustrated, right? Instead of saying, I hate you and I wish you'd fall off a cliff, it's
and
a, I think you're beautiful.
how does that work out for you?
No,
Does
it
that
works
help you
really well for us.
guys?
Yeah. Because
Interesting.
you have to laugh about it, right?
Yeah, I
It's
like that. I
yeah,
like that.
it's just another way to, the day in day out of being a parent, being a partner is a little difficult. We all have our own stressors, but when we come together as a couple, we're stronger, I believe, in the world. It's always great to have a partner. Now, that being said, what are some of the things that you mentioned in the show? I'd love for you to talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I kind of talk about a relationship through the lens of a Scrabble game, because my wife and I have very different approaches to Scrabble. Um, Basically, I want to win. I enjoy I enjoy putting a really beautiful word on the board. I
Hmm.
do, and in the show I mentioned my favorite word, and I'm going to tell it to you right now.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
Yes, give it to me.
Chlamydia.
You are the best. And you're talking about chlamydia the flower, is that right?
No, I'm talking about chlamydia. Is there a flower called chlamydia?
Yeah, there really is.
Oh no, I'm talking about the one that makes your dick fall off.
Oh, I love it. Not even 10 minutes into the show, and I've got Nurse Papa talking about dicks. It's all right.
I
It's all
mean,
good
yeah, my
here.
penis is still attached to my body, and I never have had chlamydia.
Oh,
No,
congratulations.
and
Nor
it's
have I.
yeah,
We're good.
thank
We're
you.
a good group.
Wow.
No shame out
Yeah.
there for those who've had chlamydia, by the
No,
way.
it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It is definitely
um,
okay.
so my wife doesn't like the way I play Scrabble,
Okay.
and she wants me to play nice, and I don't like the way she plays, although I do really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it has led to an impasse in which we cannot play Scrabble because we have two different approaches.
Gotcha.
And we also have different approaches to communication, in which
Yeah.
it's at times hard for me to be effusively emotional
Mm-hmm.
and expressive when she
Mm-hmm.
needs me to be. And it's all about finding that you know the happy medium between two couples who have different ways of communicating.
Sure. I think for myself, I came from a very verbally loud family. So, of course, I carry that into my how I've raised my children. And I won't say verbally abusive. It was just a loud, when my mom was ready for you to know she wanted you, she would pull out all the names, Pollyanna, yeah, yeah, I got them all, middle name, last name. Oh, I might have been called my sister and my cousin 13 times before she got the Pollyanna part right, but yeah. So I totally understand that, and it's just my husband did not come from that kind of family. They're very quiet, very stoic, not a whole lot of emotion a lot of the time. So it is a huge difference whenever I've got my emotions are you I look like a ray of sunlight basically. Constantly emotion here, spraying out everywhere. That's what I do. And it gets a little difficult, and I'm sure for my husband it's been a trial to figure out how to communicate well enough with somebody who's loud and in your face all the time. So I can understand where your wife would be, you guys would be the same. Just a little opposites make the best attraction, though, right? That's how that
Yeah,
works. Yeah,
I don't know if we're opposites so much as sometimes we're just not on the same page.
gotcha.
And I am so extremely stubborn. You know, when you're having a fight with your spouse, and like at some point somebody needs just to throw a bone in, right? You just need
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
start the communication,
Mhm.
even if it's rough, even if it's mean. You have to start talking, right?
Right.
You gotta come together. And
Right.
for a long time, it was always my wife. She always had to be the one to capitulate, to
Mhm.
surrender to my stubbornness, and it wasn't fair because it's really like, um, it really puts you in a position where you are kind of speaking up to somebody and they're speaking down to you in a
Right.
way.
Right.
And it's been a real interesting journey for me to learn not to be stubborn,
Yeah.
to let go of my ego, and just give in to the fact that maybe neither of us can be right.
Right.
And even if I am in my heart right, which I am, I'm right, to let that go. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Do you guys, your wife and yourself, do you have set boundaries that one goes you that boundaries that you can push past because she's a pushover, or maybe she thinks you're a pushover for some certain things? Do you have that in your relationship?
Oh, neither of us are pushovers. No,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, no. There's definitely lines. Neither of us are alphas either.
Right.
There are those relationships where you're like, how do you do this? You guys are
Hmm.
both such fucking alphas. Like, how do you not eat each other? Like, why are you not eating her brain right now?
Yeah.
Um, but we're not like that. I feel like we're actually both pretty reasonable people. And
Hmm.
the thing is, with my wife and I definitely respect her authority on certain things, and she respects my authority on certain things. We know that we're both good at in certain areas, and
Hmm.
honestly, like, I don't care about a lot of things that she really cares about, like, that are
Right.
really important to her. So I'm not gonna give her a hard time about some bullshit that I don't
Yeah.
care about. I want her
Gotcha.
to be in charge of that because that's
Yeah.
what makes that's her happy place.
Hmm.
So I think identifying those things is are really important because you know you don't have to see eye to eye on every single issue, right? It's
Right.
important to give your partner the chance to fly.
Right. I understand that. And I appreciate that because a lot of people don't necessarily always know how to communicate in that way. And I hear what you're saying as well when you say you have important things for you, she has important things for her, and let her deal with that and let you deal with what you think is best for you. And I think that that works best. But there are those times when you are just locking horns constantly over little petty things. And what have you found that you have done, since neither one of you backed down, obviously? What do you do to make up? What's your makeup strategy whenever you know that you're not giving in, but you're feeling like you need to give in, but you're not gonna? How do you deal with
Mm.
that?
I mean, I think honestly, we are getting better
Hmm.
at fighting, and that's a strange thing to say, but it's a skill.
Yeah.
Being able to fight effectively without being offensive and without hurting somebody
Hmm.
is, I think, a really important thing. So the longer we've been married, the better we get at fighting, which I think is great. And there are ways of giving in without giving in. Sometimes you just don't talk about it. You watch a show and you give a foot massage. I mean, it's all about just like, all right, let's reset. You get ice cream. I'll do the foot massage.
So your strategy is foot massaging. I like it. It's
I mean,
important.
Pauline, I'm gonna tell you right now,
Yeah.
I am really good at foot massages.
Oh my gosh. Stop
But
right
you know what the
now.
problem is?
What?
My wife is horrible at foot massages. She's so bad because she's got these little hands and
Oh yeah.
like kind of like T-Rex hands.
Oh
She's like,
gosh. If
and
your wife is listening to this, I did not ever
she would
sanction
never listen to
T-Rex
your show. I'm
hands.
just kidding.
Oh, that's probably true too. Not
She's
a
like,
whole.
ah! No, but like 30 seconds into a foot massage, she'd be like, oh, my hands are hurting. And like, that
Oh.
wasn't a foot massage. So like, yeah, I give amazing foot massages, and that's what I have to offer to this relationship.
Okay. And does she have her typical makeup thing that she does for you? Like, is there something she says, or is there something she makes you for dinner? What happens when
I
she's
don't
trying
know
to
if
make
there's a
up?
particular thing like that, honestly. I think,
It's
yeah,
because she's
I
got you.
can't,
She has you wrapped around her finger. That's what happened.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah.
She's yeah. You just don't know that. You've not listened to her long enough. That's
I
what
mean,
it
it's
is.
funny, and I don't know how relevant this is to this topic, but like my wife and I had a very drawn out courtship. Like
Hmm.
we met each other at a game night, um, and the only reason I really remember that is because she told me. I don't truly remember us interfacing in a super meaningful way. And then, you know, we had friends in common, so we hung out, and we had a very, very, brief, hot, time of being together for a couple
Yeah.
months, and it was nice, but I was unable to commit, and she was dating somebody else who was also named David. It was
Everybody's
really
named David.
everybody's named David.
Sorry, David.
So it's okay. I don't know. I'm okay. Um, so we broke it off,
Yeah.
and we became friends. We were friends for a good 6 years, and then we eventually became partners. And but it took a while. It wasn't like this magical romantic thing, and she always wanted that. She always wanted it to be that, and she always wanted me to communicate that's what it was.
Hmm.
But I tell her that's not our story. We were not that whirlwind romantic couple.
Yeah.
Um, it took us time. We had to be friends. We had to be, we had to be close in a different way. And I remember one time we were hanging out as friends, like really good friends. And this is maybe a couple months before we like started dating, and 6 months later we were married.
Uh-huh.
And we had a fight. We had a fight about something so stupid. I don't even remember what it was, but it got really heated, like the
Oh
way
wow.
two friends can really fight about
Oh
something.
yeah.
And I said in my mind, there is no way I'm ever going to date this girl. And then 6 months later, we were like engaged.
Inseparable. That's what happens, when you
So maybe
find
that's
them,
our
you find them.
whirlwind romance story. What's that?
And when you find the right person, you find the right person. It fits. And
Yeah,
sometimes
and it's all
you
about
have to work
timing.
at it. Yeah, it is totally. Even though, I'm sitting here speaking from I'm a marriage ninja 3.0. That's what I call myself because I've been married 3 times. Communication in my previous marriages was nowhere near what I have right now currently.
Yeah.
And was it their fault? Not necessarily. It was mine too. I was young and I didn't know. That's the key right there. I didn't know what I wanted in a relationship because I didn't know. The only thing I had ever seen were, aunts, uncles, mom, dad, grandparents. That's the people that you emulate whenever you're in a relationship, or at least that's how you learn as a child how to, you either are a lovey, huggy, touchy kind of person, or maybe you're not. Maybe you come from a family that's not a thing. So finding common ground when you are kind of opposites is a sometimes it's very difficult, but you
Oh yeah.
can, you totally can, and sometimes it can be super spicy. But one of the things that I hear a lot of people doing is comparing their relationships with other people's, right?
Oh, it's
Like,
bullshit.
right, totally. Like you were just saying, your wife wanted you to say that you had this whirlwind romance, right? Like in her mind, that's what she thought was the best part about relationships, or at the time. I was never, I always go back to myself. I never wanted to be married ever. I didn't think that I was ever going to get married or have kids. Not that I didn't want to, just wasn't on my radar of things at the time. So, I just didn't do that initially. But when I finally did get married, it was great. And I had the cutest little boy ever in the whole world. Now he's grown up. He's yucky. And you haven't got to that part yet, but you will. And, it's so very difficult
Wait, did you
to.
say your son is yucky?
Oh, yeah, he's yucky. He's old now. He's not cute. Like, your kids are
No.
adorable. Like, I can't get my son to come on the podcast and call me Mama. He doesn't do that.
Well, I
He'd be
mean,
like, Mom, really? Shut up.
my daughter's 6. She depends on me for everything. She does whatever I say.
I know, but it's so sweet, and I don't get
No,
that
she loves it
sweetness.
actually. She's like, Papa, when are we gonna record
Oh
next?
my gosh, I want to. If I had a show that wasn't about sexuality, I would totally have her on my show.
Oh my gosh, you should have my daughter as your guest.
I would love
That would be
to.
that would be
Totally.
great.
You know what? I can't imagine what we would talk about. I think we would talk about some really fun things.
She is strangely such a hyper verbal 6-year old. I kind of think that you guys could probably talk for a good half hour and not cover the same
Oh,
subject,
probably.
although it might not be something you're interested in.
Oh no, listen, I love children. I think that they're awesome. And I think that the only way that they're going to be even better is if we tell them all the things they need to know. And sometimes we just fall short on that. But going back to relationships in the fact that it's really hard when two people come together that are totally opposite in their thoughts of what that, that romantic love situation is. And I'm going to guess, or I'm just going to ask, do you think that you are an overtly romantic guy? Like when it comes
No,
to your wife?
absolutely not.
No.
No,
But you give
no.
the
I have to.
greatest foot rubs ever.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your definition of romance. If your idea of romance is foot rubs, then I'm the fucking most romantic guy in the world.
But when you're doing the foot rub, are you doing the foot rub with the intention of making your partner feel good? Or are you doing it because it makes you feel better about not backing down in an argument?
I'm mostly watching porn on my phone while I'm doing it, so it's.
Stop it
Oh
right
wait,
now.
is this mic on? No, I'm doing it to please her.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and also I enjoy giving pleasure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something I enjoy, and I enjoy giving in all aspects of my life. I
Hmm.
enjoy giving to my patients. That's the best part of my job. I
Yeah.
enjoy giving to my kids. That's the best part about being a parent.
Yeah.
And I enjoy giving to my partner. But sometimes you just don't want to fucking give, and
True story.
um, it's just hard, right?
Right.
I go to work and I take care of sick kids all day. I come home and then I'm taking care of healthy kids.
Hmm.
And who gets screwed? My wife, because she is last in line to get the giving. And it's not fair. It's not fair at all. But there's a pecking order, right?
There is,
And the,
and
the
things
kids
have
come
to be
the kids
done.
come first.
Right. Just as
Um,
tonight, like my poor little husband is watching a movie by himself, sitting on the couch. It's late.
oh no, he's watching porn too. Trust
No.
me.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a stretch. Mm-mm. Yeah, all day long. But yeah, I understand that. And when you do have the caring kind of job like you have, like I have, when you are listening to heartfelt moments all day long from other people and you're giving your 110% of yourself into what you're doing because it's your job, but also you love your job, it's very hard to come home and then also be that caregiver at home as well. And
Yeah,
speaking
it's
from a
it's
mom
it's really
standpoint,
hard.
which is all I can do, I find my husband is awesome. He works from home, so he does the laundry for me. Cooks so well. Oh my gosh, he cooks so well. I used to tease that I made him chubby, right? Being from Kentucky and cooking really good food. But honestly, I swear he's cooking so much better than I do anymore. It's pretty fantastic. But that's the part of our romance, right? So that's
Yes.
what we do as that's his way to show me love. And I'm out working and I come home and that's what that's my greatest part of my day is when we get ready to go to bed. I bought one of those, listen, this is not a vulgar thing, but I bought a sharper image vibrator, right? The hammer looking vibrator.
Hmm.
And before we go to sleep every night, we massage each other's backs, regardless of how
With
tired.
with the
We just do
vibrator.
that. Yeah, with the massager. It's the greatest
Okay.
thing. Deep tissue massage is,
Oh, it's actually made to give a massage, not
yeah,
as a sex
no,
toy.
it's like a
Okay,
trigger point massager. So yeah, not
gotcha.
like a pleasure wand or anything like
Yeah,
that, but
you're not
um,
like rubbing the rabbit all over his ears.
oh no, no, no. No, 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 no. We do that on Saturdays. No, just kidding.
Yes.
Not every
Oh,
Saturday.
our day is Friday. Friday sex day.
I have a really good friend who has New Battery Wednesdays, and I just love that too.
New battery Wednesdays.
She uses her
That's
vibrator
never
a lot.
I tools,
Yeah,
sex
yeah,
toys has
yeah.
never really been part of our um relationship. I guess we never really needed it. It's never
Right.
been
Well, it's
necessary.
just like, did you ever think for 1 second that you needed 6 cup holders in a car? You didn't think
Um
about it.
no,
That's not
I
something you think
guess
about. But isn't it nice
I
to have
honestly
that one,
usually
the one that
forget
you
to put
need?
gas in the car, so
No. So you didn't know that you needed all those cup holders, but sometimes it's nice to have them. So when you talk
Yeah,
about sex toys, sometimes it's
yeah.
nice to have them. You just didn't know that you needed them before. They're just a little, nice addition.
But is there a certain facility one kind of needs to have to use one well? You can't just like take it out of the box and go. Bzzz.
No, what you do is pleasure time. And pleasure time, so I, as a Tantra instructor, teach people to schedule pleasure for themselves. So
Hmm.
once a week, you set a timer, 30 minutes, you put it in your calendar, and you pleasure yourself using a toy, using your, whatever your hands, whatever works for you. And you figure out what feels good. Then you can communicate that
Hmm.
pleasure
Oh
to
wait, my
your
alarm just
partner.
went off. Sorry, Patty. I have to.
No, and you have to stick to that date with yourself because we are so terrible about taking care of ourselves. And
Now, you're
that's
supposed to bring yourself to climax during that time.
you
Is
don't
that your
have no
goal?
no the it's not the climax that you're working for. You're
It's a
looking
process.
at it's the process of how turned on can I get without actually having an ejaculatory release.
Tantra is so interesting in that. I
Yeah.
mean, I would love um, to do that.
Well,
I
I
mean, it's
mean,
funny. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but like, from age 15 to 40, like, you know, coming too early and premature ejaculation was like always on my mind or
yeah,
on my dick for that
I'm
matter.
pretty sure it's on
Um,
every guy's mind.
yeah, but I swear, the second I turned 40, oh my gosh, like now it's like the opposite. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
And part of it I think is age, and I think the other part of it is that ever since I've had kids and I
Hmm.
have responsibilities and and a real purpose in life,
Hmm.
I just like don't have the time to worry about that bullshit. Like
Right.
I just
Okay.
had to let go lots of like baggage that have really made,
Right.
my ability to like be a good sex partner much easier.
Right. Yeah. The ability to relax is something that not everybody has.
Yeah, God, if
And
you're
when
tense when you
we,
try to have sex, it's just like such a bad experience.
right, well, when you have a timer going on in your mind, which most people do, you know, I've had sexual intercourse with a spouse and be thinking, okay, I need to get the laundry out. I need to go get
Yeah,
this. I need to make this for dinner. I wish he would hurry up. That's my thought. um, but the ability to be present in the moment and really feel into how your partner makes you feel is really it's like a delicacy, right? You don't get to eat it all
yeah,
the time, but when you do, you remember it, right?
yeah, and I've really been trying to focus on that lately, on just
Yeah.
really being present, not in a physical way so much, although that's definitely part of it, but in an
Right.
emotional way. Like,
Right.
gosh, I feel so lucky in this moment to be making love to you, like
Yeah.
to be like
Yeah.
really grateful in that moment, like of like this opportunity to have
Yeah.
sex with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean, if you think about it, when we are doing this repetitive day in, day out thing that we do, go to work, whatever. I'm tired too after working a 12-hour shift. I'm not this, this sexual princess, ready to pounce all the time. That's not who I am. I get tired, y'all. I'm tired.
Do you want to know my secret
What's your
to
secret?
combat that?
What?
Daytime sex.
I have to work in the daytime, but
I know. I'm lucky. I have a very strange schedule, so
it's
there's
so
lots of
good.
opportunity.
Well, and it's not that we don't have opportunity, but what I like is that even though we don't have that, I get a kiss on the cheek and a squeeze or whatever. And every night when I'm brushing my teeth, he smacks me on my ass. That's to me. I know that sounds like the most simplistic and weird thing, but to me, when he does that, I know he's right there with me, right? Like
Yeah.
he still thinks I'm cute after all these years, and that's
I mean, no,
awesome.
it's important to communicate affection like
For
that.
sure. And when I see him in his, he how mundane is it to work from home? I mean, some people live for that. I'm a communicator. I need to talk to people. I need to be around people. So I'm very social. He is not as social as I am. But it must be awful, or at least I perceive it to be awful, to be stuck at home all the time. I mean, he goes wherever he
especially
wants
during
to.
COVID.
Right, exactly. Well, and we moved across the country and we left our families and friends and everything back home.
Yeah,
So, you
that's a
know,
real test on your relationship.
it was, but you know what? I think we came out stronger because what we started doing is instead of sitting at home looking at each other and saying, what do we want to watch on TV? We would take hikes or we would walk down by the river or, we actually started making time because also during COVID, think about it. I'm working front line just like you. We're exposed to a lot of things
Yeah,
and we are never promised tomorrow. None of us are. And
no,
we really do take for granted our relationships sometimes when we don't have that frame of mind. Well, that's at least
yeah.
the frame of mind I stay in. Is
I
I
have to
want
say,
every day
like,
to count. Yeah.
the death of every relationship, or at least of my relationships, when
Hmm.
I've had them, is like that pattern of just like watching TV at night and like
Yeah.
falling asleep on the couch
Yeah.
together. It's just like such a, you know what? Stop it. Just like,
Right.
don't do that every night. You take some time when you go to bed early, or you read a book in bed with your spouse, or you do
Hmm.
something other than focusing on the screen in front of you. And
Right.
I think so many people fall into that trap, and I
Yeah.
know that because we have.
Yeah. Same.
But it's really important to end the night well by not doing that.
No. You know
Like
what?
we always end up in this like weird couch wrestling match where I'm like trying to get my legs somewhere comfortable and she's like stuck underneath me, and it's like in those moments I feel violence towards her. Like I'm angry. I wake up angry. I'm like, what the fuck? Don't do it.
You're so funny. I think that it's really important, and one of the things that's a huge turn on for me has always been my husband will read novels to me, or he's read erotica. He reads Greek mythology books to me, and
I think
I
that's great.
love that, and it makes my imagination go crazy. Just thinking about all of the cool things that he's reading, and it's so comforting because that
Yeah,
is
I
the
have some
voice
friends
that
who
I
do
want
that.
to go to sleep to. That is the voice I want to wake up with. And I think that that's really, it's an important part of a relationship to get to
Yeah, no,
know
that's
the
a
daggone
great,
person
great
you're
thing to
spending your
do.
life with, for sure.
I
I
mean, I
love,
read stories to my kids every night.
yeah, read them
But
to
I would
your
love
wife.
for my wife to tell me a bedtime story. I think I'm ready for that.
Well, yeah, it's the best thing. Just a little, whatever book that you want, whatever book you think that her voice fits with, or if you want to get sassy, do a little erotica reading. It's great.
I would love that. I think that's a great kind of setup for having sex and for having good sex.
Totally is. Because you're not watching the slam bam thank you ma'am porn, you know, the rinse and repeat constant
Yeah,
rhetoric of oh, these girls moaning and oh, these guys are so well endowed. It doesn't work like that all the time. And nobody looks that good when they wake up. So just so you
yeah.
know.
It's funny every time that we've and I'm hope that my wife never listens to this show, because she would be horrified. Every time we have like watch porn to kind of get in the mood,
Mhm.
it honestly like after 30 seconds we're like, all right, shut it off. Like it's
Right.
always
Well, it
it's
works
like
for
a
some people. Some people it
yeah.
works well for. But it's also good to remember that your brain is your largest sexual organ. And if you can
Actually, my
get,
my dick is bigger than my
oh,
brain.
I have no doubt in
Sorry.
that.
But
After that comment, no doubt. Anyway, that is not true.
I have a tiny tiny brain.
You're so funny. I love it. But
You
that's
ever
one
see
of
like a T Rex brain? It's like the size of a peanut.
of a penis, of a
A
small
peanut,
penis.
yeah.
I got it.
That's right. T Rexes have little penises in their heads. Little hands, little penises.
Little
I think
hands,
the T
little.
Rex is probably a very sexually frustrated dinosaur
I can't imagine.
because he's got the hands
Yeah.
and he can't do anything with it. And then like, how do you get that little T Rex penis like into the other T Rex? Like, I don't know. I think T Rex sex is probably really awkward.
Do you think?
T
Do you think that
sex.
it's lizards? I mean, like, do you not think the mom just drops the eggs and the dad just sprays all over them? Is that what happened?
Pollyanna, I'm not a biologist.
Me neither.
I
That was
have no
probably the
idea.
most ridiculous thing I've ever said. I know nothing about T Rex penis or
Yeah,
peni. What did I say,
I don't know.
peni?
Yeah, I think it is penises.
Penises. I like peanut. I think it's great. Anyway.
Well, you can be grammatically incorrect if you want to.
Oh, it's my show. I can do anything I want. I
You
can.
can do whatever you want. But
That's what I'm
I'm
doing.
leaving right now if you continue
Oh,
saying
by the way, did I tell you what the name of the show was tonight?
that. I know it's Buried Pleasures.
Oh, thank you for Great Pleasures. But no, this show tonight is called Communication with the Captain, the First Mate, and the Powder Monkeys.
Oh, I was going to ask you about what the fuck a powder monkey
Powder
is. Is
monkeys
that like
are
a
the little
fluffer?
boys that would be on the ship that would fill the powder in the cannons.
Oh, okay, I like
So
it.
that's your
Very
kids are
nice.
now powder monkeys. I'm sorry,
And
that's
like
just what
the
it is.
pornography equivalent of that is the fluffer, correct?
Oh my gosh, probably, yeah, I guess. That would make
I know
sense.
I need a fluffer. I need to get a fluffer.
Well, I mean, if your wife allows you to have that in your relationship, or if your wife chooses to be that and then be the star, she can be fluffer and star. It's okay.
She could have two roles.
She could.
I
That's
like
what
that.
we're all about here. We're all about realization of parts and pieces and also of perspective.
Versatility.
Versatility. That's right. Be a switch if you can be. Everybody likes a verse.
Oh
So,
yeah.
it's true story. But, Nurse Papa,
Yes.
what
Pollyanna.
is going on with the release of your book? When is that coming out?
So I actually just got a copy, a digital
Mhm.
copy of my book from my publisher, and it was a really beautiful moment for me, Pollyanna,
I'm really excited for you.
because this book took me 5 years to write, and I'm really proud of it. It's so the book is called Nurse Papa: 16 Meditations on Parenthood from a Pediatric Oncology Nurse, and it's all about these really amazing lessons I've learned at the bedside from the kids I take care of and their parents, and how I've been able to apply them to my life as a father. And they're not things like this is how you get your kid to eat broccoli or this is how you get your kid to stop screen time. They're really about being present with what parenthood means. So I'm super excited for the book to come out. But it's not coming out till August, so we've got a couple months or three
That's
or four
okay.
months until that happens.
That's okay. I'm just happy to have you on the show and
Yeah,
to
it's been great.
talk to you about all of the cool things that you're doing. I think it's awesome. And also, since we're friends, I'm happy to have you here anyway, regardless.
Yeah,
Plus, it makes me
yeah,
happy to hear you say things like dick, and it's just great.
yeah. I'm here to be the powder monkey. I'm just
Oh,
gonna put
powder,
that.
you're good. Fluffing up. I got
I'm gonna
you.
fluff it up. Arr.
Well, if you ever want to find me or this podcast or any of the other things that we put out, you can check me out on buriedpleasures.com. You can also find me at Buried Pleasures on Twitter and on YouTube, and then Pleasure Pathways on Facebook and Instagram. David, how can they find you?
Well, you can find me in Oakland, California. But if you want to find me on the internet, on the World Wide Web, you can go to nursepapathebook.com and you'll find out all about my book that will be coming out in August. If you would like to hear Nurse Papa the podcast, which I really think you do, listener, want to hear Nurse Papa the podcast because it will make you laugh, it will make you
Mm-hmm.
cry, but most
Mm-hmm.
importantly, it'll make you think about what kind of person you want to be for your spouse, for your kids. You can find that on any podcasting platform that you enjoy listening to: Apple, Spotify, um, Stitcher, whatever other fucking platforms there are. You could
Just
probably
Google
just
it.
like find it standing on the corner.
That's
Nurse
probably
Papa
true.
podcast. It's just on the corner, like trying to score some crack or something. So you can find it there. You can find me on Twitter at Nurse Papa, um, and on Instagram at Nurse Papa the Book.
Fantastic. David, it has been a pleasure always.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
You're so sweet. And don't forget also, we are a part of the Just Some Podcast Media family. And
We are.
we are so happy to be there because they're such great guys too. Just Some
Yeah, we
Podcast.
have a lot of fun. I think we all really support each other, and I like. Sometimes it's good to not be alone.
True story. We love
Yeah.
that. All right. Well, everybody, have a wonderful night. Thanks for being here.
Just Some Podcast Media.